We grow up believing that human connection is driven by a spontaneous, magical spark, an unpredictable moment where two people just click. But our actual dating histories often tell a different story. We see patterns of falling for the same types of people, often those who are arrogant, mismatched, or even toxic, suggesting our choices aren't as random as they feel. Psychologists and sociologists studying these patterns suggest that this spark isn't a mystery at all. It is the conscious result of a very specific subconscious processing system. Your brain is constantly scanning every room, filtering for specific signals that indicate evolutionary fitness and social standing in a fraction of a second. To understand why we choose who we do, we have to look at the mechanics of social status, the influence of the crowd, and specific personality traits that can override our judgment. The first factor in attraction is social status, which serves as the foundation for how we perceive value in others. Status isn't just about wealth, it's about sociological rank. High rank provides group validation, informing our social identity and dictating how others respond. However, we don't always see status clearly. We view it through a self-esteem filter that can distort our perception of who is actually in our league. People with low self-esteem are often hypersensitive to rejection. They spend more cognitive energy scanning for cues that they might be unwanted. This sensitivity often leads them to avoid the most compatible or high-value partners. They gravitate towards safe interactions where the risk of being turned down is low, effectively maintaining their current psychological status quo. This internal filter creates an invisible barrier to social mobility, limiting a person's romantic options before they even say hello. The second variable is social proof. In the world of dating, we rarely evaluate a person's value on our own. This leads to a phenomenon called preselection. Essentially, a person becomes more desirable the moment they are perceived as being wanted by others. This acts as a mental shortcut. Instead of spending weeks assessing someone's character, we outsource that judgment to the surrounding crowd. You see this in simple photography. A person standing with attractive friends triggers an immediate assumption of high value that bypasses our rational brain. This highlights a primary rule of dating. Visual evidence of social value is more persuasive than anything a person can say about themselves. Much of what we feel as chemistry is actually a response to the validation that person receives from everyone else in the room. The final variable involves personality traits, specifically the Dark Triad of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Generally, human mating logic is straightforward. For long-term commitments like marriage, people of both sexes prioritize partners who score low on these dark traits. However, there is a distinct advantage in short-term dating. The impulsivity and social dominance associated with the Dark Triad often translate into immediate, intense attraction. Clinical studies have labeled a specific cognitive distortion within this dynamic, the birds of a bad feather effect. Data shows women ranking high in psychopathy misinterpret the behavior of psychopathic men. They see toxic traits as indicators of a viable husband. This feedback loop creates a massive blind spot, completely drowning out biological indicators for a stable partner. It explains why we often ignore objective red flags, viewing them instead as signs of a perfect match. Romantic attraction is a constant negotiation between our own self-worth, the influence of the crowd, and our underlying personality traits. It can feel as though breaking romance down into data takes the emotion out of love. In practice, understanding these variables allows us to see when we are being influenced by manufactured social proof or our own fear of rejection. We can begin to look past the spark and evaluate a potential partner for who they actually are. Enduring relationship success is the result of making deliberate choices based on objective compatibility rather than following a fleeting biological impulse. Mastering this calculus turns dating into a conscious, intentional decision.